Welcome. In this video tutorial we will use WebLink to record gaze while participants interact with tablets and mobile phones. The tutorial will explain the equipment required, how to create a calibration image to display on the tablet or mobile phone, and demonstrate the use of WebLink's external video component. To record gaze while participants interact with tablets or mobile phones, you will need a video capture device. For this project I used a relatively inexpensive StarTech device. Magewell devices also work well. You will also need an MHL or Lightning to HDMI cable. This cable will take the video signal from the tablet or mobile phone and pass it to the video capture device. These cables typically have a USB attachment that provides power, and when attached to a tablet or mobile phone will prompt the device to download the relevant driver. This sketch illustrates the basic setup. Unlike typical screen-based eye tracking, the tablet or mobile phone should be mounted just beneath the eye tracker. This allows participants to interact with the device's screen without obscuring the view of the eye tracker camera or blocking its IR light source. I used a little laptop stand. The MHL or Lightning cable should connect the tablet or phone to the HDMI input of the video capture device, which itself should connect to the computer running WebLink. Let's create a WebLink project. First, I'll save the project, and then, as before, we'll start by dragging a camera setup component onto the timeline. Again, I'll just leave the default settings for now. Then, we'll add an external video component. Assuming that you have everything wired up correctly, you should now be able to select the video capture device from the external video source preference and see the tablet or mobile phone screen live in the preview panel. If I interact with the tablet, the capture in the preview panel updates in real time. Now, click the Adjust Tracking Area button and drag the borders so that they map up with the device's screen. Press Enter when you're done. We need to adjust some experiment configuration settings so that WebLink knows the dimensions of the tablet screen and its distance from the participant's eyes. I'll tweak the tracking area and then enter the dimensions of the tablet's screen and its distance from the participant's eyes. If we now switch back to the camera setup component, you will see that the calibration grid has been resized to match the dimensions of the captured video. I'll change the calibration type to a 13-point model. We need the participant to be able to see the calibration targets on the tablet, so I'll click the Export button and save the calibration grid as an image. You'll need to save it somewhere like a shared folder that you'll be able to access from the tablet. The project is now ready to be run. First though, make sure that the tablet is displaying the calibration grid image that you created in WebLink earlier. During the calibration, just tell the participant which target number to look at. You can check that the calibration targets are in the correct locations by clicking on the Adjust Calibration Grid button. Because we exported the calibration grid as an image, everything is matching up nicely, but if you created your own calibration image, you can click and drag each individual target so that it maps up with the targets in your image. I'll run the project, enter the session details, and perform camera setup just as I would usually. During calibration, just ask the participant to look at each numbered target in turn. After checking the calibration grid on the host PC screen, I can press Enter to store the calibration and then O to start the recording. At this point, the preview panel in WebLink will display the tablet screen with a gaze cursor overlaid. When you're ready, you can click the Stop Recording button and save the data. The EDF files can be imported into a data viewer viewing session, where you can play back the recordings. In this recording, I just asked the participant to interact with Google Maps. With dynamic content such as this, in which there is a long single recording or trial, it can be very helpful to set interest periods, which divide the recording up into different sections depending on what's on screen. I'll create an interest period for when the map is taking up the full screen at the beginning. If you pause the recording, you can click on the timeline to get close to where you want to be, and then step forward or backward frame by frame. When you've reached the point where you want the interest period to start, you can right-click in the Inspector panel and choose Add New Message. Data Viewer will automatically choose the current point in the recording as the time for the message to be inserted. You can follow the same steps of moving the playhead along the timeline and then stepping through frame by frame to insert a message to mark the end of the segment. You can then use these messages to set an interest period. Give the interest period a sensible label, and then use the new messages that were added to define the start and end events. Further interest periods can be created to segment the rest of the recording based on what the participant was doing or the layout of the content of the tablet screen. For example, here I created an interest period for when the participant used the app to get directions, because during this part of the recording there are two distinct sections on screen. Once you have created some interest periods, you can create static or dynamic interest areas, and of course generate the usual wide range of output reports that will form the basis of any further analysis. Please see previous videos in this series, along with the Data Viewer video tutorials, for further information on working with dynamic stimuli. I hope you found this video tutorial useful. Please do check out the other videos in this series, and as ever, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact our support service via the support forum or email.